Hey everyone, I'm Zoe and I'm from the Hey Monika team, and I'm really excited to be here today to talk to you about what's new with Hey Monika. Just wanted to let you know that if you are curious about learning more or you've got questions you want to ask, please just jump into our Monday webinar. It's at 12 every week. You can register on our website and I'd love to see you there and we can answer your questions. But while I'm here, I wanted to tell you about some of the changes that we have made. We've just had a new website. The styling has changed a little bit, and I want to show you about how our accounting scenarios and challenges work inside MoniLedger, which is our custom accounting software built just for Hey Monika customers. I'm going to show you around. I'm going to show you quite a few different things today, but if you have any questions, please do let me know in the comments. I'm really happy to answer any questions that you've got. Let me just share my screen and hopefully you can see what I'm seeing. Great. Okay, so I'm on our brand new website. This is where you can find out everything you need to know about Hey Monika. So let me just tell you about the software and why this exists. We wanted to solve the problem of accountancy exams not really tying up to what it looks like in the office. And I'm a very proudly qualified accountant and bookkeeper. So I've been through all of the exams, the qualifications, all of those sort of going through textbooks, answering questions and that kind of thing. But then we so often hear from people who are going into employment or looking for work or want to be self-employed, who've maybe changed industry or changed career entirely or are brand new to work, that there's kind of a confidence gap in terms of being ready for the level of conversation that you're expected to have in this profession with your clients right now. There's massively a lot of change happening right now in terms of automation and AI technology being built into software, which can also sort of create a larger gap in readiness for what the work actually looks like today. There's a lot of the junior work that doesn't need to be done, doesn't need to be keyed in the way that when I trained years and years ago, you might have spent a year or two just keying things in and not really having the full picture of everything, and certainly not client facing. But actually what we're hearing from practices now is they need people ready to speak to clients straight away and be much more ready for those sort of advisory conversations. So we're trying to help you to get that. And when we started building this, the team of us sort of together, we were thinking, like, how do we solve this problem? Actually, what if we could throw you into an environment where you are dealing with a fake client who has their own problems and issues and questions, and you could actually have to deal with them there and then. So that's what we've been building. So you can find out everything you need to know on the Hey Monika website. There are a few things that have changed here that I thought would be really useful to just show you around in case you're already a customer, or maybe you've been a customer before and you want to find different things. Obviously, best thing to do though is start a free trial. You can sign up for a 1 month free trial on the solo plan. Just pop your email address in and details, and you sign up and use the code FREEBIE, which I will share underneath this video once it's finished recording. Just type in FREEBIE, you'll get 1 month free. You can cancel your subscription at any time through your settings. So once you're in the platform, you will go to your settings and you can change your subscription. Now, what you might choose to do though is try it out for yourself, because you know you've got team members who could benefit from this. So if you decide in the future that actually, this is going to be really helpful for the trainees in my team, what you can do then is you can drop us a message to our support form, our contact form here, and we'll be able to set you up onto a team account. So you've been able to have a try for free. You've got the confidence in the product that you can then roll it out for your team. Just get in touch with us and we can set you up a team plan as well. Okay, let me just show you a few things that have changed here. If you do want to watch a demo, there's a link on the website where you can watch another demo, but I think I'm going to show you enough behind the scenes here today. I want to show you the resources page though, which has changed. Just to flag, the contact form is here if you've got questions or need any support, it's always there for you. But let me go into resources. And there are a number of different resources that we've created in the resource hub that can be helpful for you. So the number one thing is our work experience record. One of the challenges when you are a trainee is actually proving what kind of work you've done, and sometimes kind of articulating what it is you've actually done in practice. So when you complete a Hey Monika challenge or scenario, you are given a code. This is only if you get 80% or more. We do have to have a set pass rate. We can't just be throwing codes around willy-nilly. We need to make sure you understand the content. But when you get that code, you can then enter that into your work experience record up here, and you can add it to your record, put your name in at the top if you want to, and then you can print this out. This is a really nice printable that you can then attach to a CV. So if you're a trainee, you get the option then to print that out and attach it to your CV. So that's something that we thought would be helpful in terms of helping you articulate the kind of work you've done with the kind of clients that you've been working with. Okay, over to our skills and exams page. We are, so I've made this, I think I've zoomed in a little bit, so it might look a bit not as aesthetically pleasing, but you might want to be able to see the details on here. We have done a large piece of work as a team to look through the accounting and bookkeeping syllabuses in the UK. Let me know in the comments if you are in a different location though, because we get lots of questions all the time about, is this suitable in this country or this country? And I'd love for it to be. It purely comes down to, we're a bootstrap startup. It's all about resources and what we've got the time and capacity to be creating right now. But if there's demand, let us know. What we've done is we've gone through a range of accounting syllabuses, and we've put together what we see as a list of the skills that are covered that we plan to be able to test within the Hey Monika platform. So if, for example, I don't know, corporate governance, explain the importance of data protection when handling financial records. This comes, of course, on all of the syllabuses. We've gone into this in detail in the accounting environment challenge. I'd also argue it's covered in our professional communication challenge as well. But underneath here, you'll see a drop down of the challenges and scenarios where this is tested. Here, for example, we've got 5 different scenarios and challenges that cover this particular skill about identifying different types of business organizations. Obviously, these are fundamental skills, but if you're brand new to the industry and you want to be throwing that in lots of different ways, this just gives you a bit of a starting point in terms of what to go and do and where to spend your time. We've also, this covers the skills that we are trying to assess. It covers the skills of those skills we want to assess, which already have some challenges and scenarios built. So there are more skills that we want to add that we haven't been able to cover on yet. So watch this space. This is always being updated. In our library tab, we've got a list of all of the live challenges and scenarios on the platform right now and what they cover. So if you are curious about why should I do this particular scenario or challenge, you can go in here before you've even signed up for the product and you can see exactly what it is that we're covering in here. So for example, maybe you want to do some spreadsheet analysis skills or something. Eco Orange, the client there is somebody who needs some support with building out spreadsheets for data visualization, some graphs, some analytics. If you want to learn those skills, that's covered in there, and we've detailed in here what exactly is included. A bit further down the page, what you'll see is that we've got some in quality assurance. I'll come back to those in a second. And we've got some in planned review as well. This is really important to mention. We've got a really rigorous quality assurance process. Obviously, we need to make sure that we're providing you with scenarios that are accessible to you. If you're a beginner or new to the industry, haven't covered this topic in real life before, we need to make sure that it is financially accurate and correct. And we need to make sure that it looks good. You know, there's a design element to this as well, and in terms of, does this flow and does this work for you as a beginner, or does it make sense what I'm actually trying to achieve here? So we're all bookkeepers and accountants in the business building this, but we test this from an angle of does it load the documents you want it to load at the right particular time, but also as a new bookkeeper or accountant in the industry, would you be able to make sense of what you're being asked to do, as well as spellings, typings, all of those kind of things that sometimes, or me particularly, might not get my spellings right all the time, and someone's going to come in and review that and make sure that that it is a really good piece of content. So that's why these are stuck in quality assurance. In the planned review section, we've got 2 scenarios at the moment which have been taken offline. If you have been familiar with Hey Monika in the past, when we started building this software, we didn't have MoniLedger. MoniLedger is our accounting platform that we've built Hey Monika around, which is here, and I will show you a little bit more of this a bit later. But we were building this around trials in market accounting softwares. Now, what we want to do now is put everything on MoniLedger, so you don't need to sign up for a free trial or anything like that. And the way that we've done that is build our own platform. So these 2 scenarios have been retired and they're going to be rebuilt. The other thing is, of course, with anything technical, accountancy related, there are always rules changes, tax rates change, payroll personal allowances change, all of that kind of thing. Guest Digital Lab is a good example here. It's a payroll challenge, so we need to make sure that we've got the right bands in place as well. So there is a a constant review of the content that we've got on the platform, so we can make sure that it's up to date and fresh and works for you, and it's what you would expect in real life. So those two will be renewed and updated, re-uploaded. In this section above then, the quality assurance. So you can see we've got 6 here at the moment, which are waiting for human review. That involves somebody going through it from a trainee point of view, somebody going through it with a fine-tooth comb from does this load, does this do the right thing, does the question make sense, that kind of thing. There's a couple of scenarios in there. One of them is the Deskless Phoenix. If you've used Hey Monika in the past, you might be familiar with Vanessa. She was doing her accounting on Xero. She now does her accounting on MoniLedger. So we've done a whole update of that particular scenario. And because you don't need to go in and set up the software for her, and it's got preloaded information for her, so you're just dropping in at the month end, ready to go, you actually have a much shorter experience of doing the scenario because you don't need to go in and set up the accounting software, which isn't what it looks like in real life with many clients anyway. We've also built one which is this one with Klein Kewick. The guy has an overdrawn director's loan account. This is a great opportunity to have a conversation with a client where they don't understand something that's going on. So he doesn't know why or what the implications are of this overdrawn director's loan account. It's the year end. Does he have to pay it back? What will this mean in terms of tax? Is it better for cash flow to do it like this or do it like this? And you can have an actual conversation with him on the phone. I'll show you that in a minute as well. So if you're interested in that kind of content, this is what scenario is about. They go end to end through a particular issue or a particular activity that you need to do at a point in time with a fake client, with a fake but realistic business, with fake but realistic issues that are coming up as well. We've also got some challenges in here as well. We've just rebuilt our director's loan account working paper, so that's ready to go. I'll show you the challenges in a second. But what we've had in the past in Hey Monika, if you've been a past customer, you would have spreadsheets to fill in with working papers. You'd have screenshots of what it might look like. I think that distracts you from the point of the working paper. I think what that means is you spend a lot of time thinking, how do I make my spreadsheet look like that? And what we actually want you to be doing is asking, why is that number important, or what am I trying to achieve on this working paper? So we've actually embedded working papers into MoniLedger, and I'll show you that in a minute as well. So we're rebuilding anything that involves a working paper. You will see us take them offline, update them, add them back in. But what's been great about having MoniLedger now is that we are able to give you the experience of doing that activity. So for example, building a director's loan account working paper at the year end, and doing it for lots of different businesses with different situations, because then we give you exposure to that particular technical issue in lots of different ways, which I think can be really helpful for you as well. You'll also see that we've got MTD first submission. Obviously, we've gone past the first submission deadline, but you might have not done MTD before for income tax. So that is so relevant, or if your client has to start doing MTD. Also, we've built into that particular challenge some subsequent filings for future quarters as well. So there is one business in there where you file the first quarter and then you file the second quarter, and you can see that cumulative position. So that's available. And we're working on an advanced MTD submission challenge where we've got a property, like a property portfolio, where we've got multiple owners of a property, like a joint property, or different trades as well as property ownership, and maybe higher tax rates. So that's coming as well. The other thing that got flagged to us by one of our accountancy practice partners was that her team needed exposure to the kind of problems that can just be hiding within a trial balance. So we've built this trial balance errors challenge. And what this does is it gives you what look like finished sets of accounts, but then we've put various problem areas in there that need to be identified and fixed, because this is what real life can be like. And actually we have this great opportunity in Hey Monika to expose you to lots and lots of problems in lots of different ways with lots of different businesses, in a way that you just might not experience very fast in a practice environment, because it might be weeks between you seeing this problem and then maybe seeing that problem at some point again in the future, and being able to think, oh yeah, actually that's just like that one, and I can I know what to do. We want to get you like up and running really, really fast. We've also got this one here, which is a sales ledger scenario where you're dealing with Alex and his sales ledger. So we've got lots of exciting scenarios and challenges ready to come. I keep saying they're in quality assurance. I just thought I'd let you know, actually, just behind the scenes gossip. We are a team of accountants and bookkeepers. Everyone's doing their own thing or running their own business. So I'm the only person who's here in the business full time, although I speak to the rest of the team every day. And we get together once a month and have something called a hackathon, where we get together and we work on the product. So in terms of running the business and things that we need to get moving along, or actually going through and building these scenarios and challenges, reviewing them, updating them, getting them released. That's what we do in these monthly sprints. One of the hackathons that we had recently was actually about building MoniLedger. So that's something that I think probably was built about 2 months ago, and it's just been like, go, go, go. So when we get together, you'll see lots of work happen, and hopefully this will all be cleared at the weekend. That's certainly my plan. Okay. So that's the library. I want to show you team progress as well. So we've got this page on the website. Now, if you are interested in a bit of competition, this is a great place for you. Or if you have a team and you want to see individual progress, this is a great place for you as well. What happens on here is you can see stats about who is active on the platform, what they've been doing, who the top users are, what the pass rates are for different things, which scenarios and challenges are most popular, what's our usage been over time. And what you can also do, when you sign up, we issue you an anonymous username. And if you are a team, we give you an anonymous team name, and each user gets an anonymous name as well, which means that if you know your team anonymous team name or your anonymous name, and if you don't, please just use the contact form at the top here and reach out, because we can give you that. It's no problem. But it means there's no names on here. When you know your anonymous name, you can then benchmark yourself against other people. So user leaderboard gold entry from Team Cobalt looks like they have been very, very busy over the last, I think this is forever actually. They've done 37 attempts and passed 27 different activities. So well done them. But if you are a team member, you might want to see how your team have done compared to each other. So the Hey Monika team, we are Team Indigo. So I can filter on our activities and I can see how we stack up against other teams or the sort of solo group. I can also see which teams are most active. So I know that I think that's probably me going in every day doing lots of things and others going in when they're doing a lot of review. Probably not an easy way to see what we're doing, but I'm clear folder, so I can see myself up against Copper Review, who's been going through lots of scenarios and challenges as well, and Indigo entry, and we can see who in the team has been doing what. So that's really helpful for us in terms of measuring performance. And if you like a bit of a leaderboard in the office, this might be quite fun. We try and keep this up to date every week. The other thing you can do if you are solo, you don't have to choose a team at the top. So if I just switch it back to everybody, I've got my own personal progress here. So I can also find myself in here. So I'm clear folder, and I can go in and I can see what I've passed, my lifetime passes, and then I can also see my data compared to other people as well. So if you're interested in how you stack up or you want to keep the momentum and the pressure on, go and have a look at the team progress. And if you don't know your username, drop us an email and we'll make sure that we get that over to you. The other thing I wanted to flag here, status, everything's good at the moment. If we had any kind of issue or something was taken down or we were aware of a problem, we would flag that on the status board here. We've also got our roadmap. So there are often suggestions, things that we need to do or improve or change, or ideas that we've had in a team that we're trying to do. These will show on here in terms of their status as well. So for example, we want to have a button on the MoniLedger, a button within Hey Monika, which you can press, which loads MoniLedger. That is in build at the moment, so you can see, and that will say that it's live when it goes live. So if you're interested in what we're actually working on and what we've actually released so far, you can see it all on the status page. And the other thing to flag is that we've got this huge bank of help documents. These have been built over the last week or so, 200 or so documents about Hey Monika. So if you've got questions or you can't find something out or you don't know what to do, this is a really good resource. So you access this, go to resources, click on help documents, you'll be able to see all of the help documents. So for example, if I wanted to know, I don't know, what's the difference between a challenge and a scenario, I can click on here, I can find out everything, including usually there's a link if you might need to contact us, it tells you how to do that as well. So that's a really useful resource bank for you to use. Okay, let's go into Hey Monika. I want to show you how this works. And I also want to go into one of the refreshed, updated challenges that we've been building, which is the accruals working paper. I'm just going to head into Hey Monika now. So we log into Hey Monika by going to heymonika.app. When you're on our website, you might well go to heymonika.com and you'll click on start free trial. This is also the login button. So that will just load that back up in your browser. Heymonika.app, this is where the platform is. When I open this up, I am shown my dashboard. You might see, if you're familiar with us already, that we've had a bit of a refresh. We had a full redesign of our branding. So we're still waiting for a few little tweaks to our platform, but you'll see those really soon. I would really recommend that when you log in, you go to the Start Here challenge. This takes you through all of the features of Hey Monika and just gets you familiar with how things work. So that's just useful to know that that's there. I will also have on here any training that I've got in progress, and I'll be able to click resume to just pick up where I left off, because we know that sometimes you can't get all the way to the end of a scenario or challenge, or the phone will ring or something happens. It's fine. You can just pick up on the last question that you were working on. And then I've got a bit of info here about which ones I've passed and failed. So the accruals challenge, I've completed it, I've passed it, I got a little tick against it. So that means I got more than 80% as a score when I completed that one. Same with Eco Orange. There are some others that I've failed or which I have in progress, which I can come back to and I can have another go. You can always restart scenarios and challenges from the beginning, or you can pick up where you left off. Okay, so two main tabs to be working with when you're in here. And just to flag here, your settings is this little settings cog. If you had queries about your account, you can always find that in there. So let's go to scenarios. So what is a scenario? A scenario is where you are working with a fake but realistic client through a fake who has a fake but realistic business through a fake but realistic scenario. So for example, you might have been dropped in to deal as the accountant with the month end for Adele, who's a sole trader, or Amy, who's a sole trader. Or you might have a client called Ollie who says, I'm making loads of sales all over the place. I've got all this data that I'm able to download from my online systems. How do I know whether I should invest money in this area or this area? And you need to do some analysis to understand where those sales are coming from and understand it, and use some spreadsheet skills to be able to do that. With the Adele and Amy ones, you might want to go into the software and obviously code transactions and things like that, but then you might need to ask the client for some paperwork that helps you to complete that task. So we've got a number of different clients, and it's like they're your client and you're working directly with them. I can show you one of these. So for example, let's drop into Ollie, for example. So he is selling eco office supplies, and we need to do various pieces of work for him to analyze where that information is coming from. When I start in the scenario, I won't start actually, I'll show you the screen in here. You've always got this client profile, which tells us a little bit about his business and the size of the business. There's a video, which I'll mute, where he introduces himself, so you can understand like who he is and what he's about and what his challenges are and why he's actually hired you. And then you can go on into the scenario, which takes you step by step through a number of different sections. So a bit of information about his profile. Then we've got 4 data analysis questions, and then we do a forecast, which is another 2 questions. Sometimes you'll have a voice note or a video or something embedded in here, and you will always have a text question, and there might be some context followed by the question with multiple choice answers. Now, the point is that you need to do the piece of work to be able to answer the question. So it might be that you're going into a spreadsheet to do something, or it might be that you are doing something in an accounting platform. But whatever that looks like, you need to come back to Hey Monika to make sure you're answering the question, to understand that you've got this right and move on. Now, if you get stuck at any point, you'll find that we have some buttons on the right hand side here, and I'll show you these in a second. But we have this help videos button and a help documents button. We tend to use videos because we think you need to see on screen step by step how we work through this. But sometimes there might be a help document as well, maybe giving you context about, I don't know, in this particular one, how to build a scenario, or what scenarios are you, how to build a forecast, or what forecasts are used for, or something like that. But if I wanted a video talking me through it, I could click on the video, which will then load on my browser, and I'll be able to watch it. If you're familiar with Hey Monika, maybe you've used it in the past. These used to be very small thumbnail videos. They now load full screens so that you can see exactly what we're doing on the screen as we work through it. So you can always watch that to understand how we've approached answering that question as well, and why we've done it in that particular way. Sometimes you need to ask the client for documents or paperwork. We have a message to the client button, which is just about to be switched over to an email the client button, where you put a subject line in and you write an email, which then gives us the ability to give you feedback on your professional communication style. Email is obviously an important part of the way we communicate in this industry. We need to make sure, though, that those emails are concise, that they get done whatever it is we need to get done, and they are also personable. It's kind of difficult to do that over email, so we need to make sure we're maintaining rapport and a relationship with the client, as well as getting the outcomes that we need. So you are assessed against a rubric on your emails, and you also are when you phone the client. So I'm going to try and do this. I don't know if you're going to be able to pick up my microphone, but let's give it a go. So when you phone a client, maybe to ask them for more information about something, or because you've been told in the question you need to phone the client to ask them for this particular bit of information, or help you understand something, or maybe even explain something to the client, I can then click the button. It will pick up my microphone, and then...
Hello, Ollie Green speaking.
Hi, Ollie, it's Zoe, your accountant here. How are you?
I'm good, Zoe. Thanks for calling. How are things with you?
Good. Okay, so I'm going to hang up on Ollie there. And what will happen at the end of the call is I will then get a transcript, but I'll also get a score, or which tells me about how my communication was by voice. So I'll be able to get some feedback, see how I can do better next time I'm having a call with my client, things that I can use in real life. Okay, let's click through so that we can work through this. The other thing I haven't mentioned, though, is that we also have this button to get help from Monika. So let me just tell you about Monika. Monika is like the person who sits next to you at work. She is your mentor. She understands accounting, but she doesn't necessarily know what you are doing right now, just like someone at work wouldn't know what you are doing. They haven't seen every single question you've answered or every single step you've taken in the accounting software. She's great to speak to if you have a technical question or query. So, for example, in this particular scenario, we're building out a forecast. It might be that I need to say to her, Monika, I've got to produce a pivot table in my Excel to analyze this data. I've never done that before. How do I make sure should I have this in the row or in the column, or something like that? It might be that I want to understand that, or it might be that I want to say, my client wants to spend money on this particular thing. He's in the UK, he's a limited company, whatever. Is he allowed to claim VAT for that? Or is that really a business expense? That kind of thing. She understands what you need to know technically to be an accountant, not necessarily what's actually happening in the challenges. So make sure that you use her if you have technical questions, just like you'd ask a colleague at work, like, I haven't come across this before. How do I do this? What do I do? What do I need to know? What's the guidance on this? She'll be able to give you the answer. Okay, so let's just click through to the end of this one, and I'm just going to show you what happens when I get to the end. So when I get to the end, it will tell me I've passed or failed. So I've failed. I've got a score of less than 80%. If I pass, I get given a little code, and that code is the code which I can then put into my work experience record, and that will then build out the picture of what kind of skills I've been building out. What also happens is I get all of the correct answers, which can be really helpful for understanding where I went wrong, what I can improve in the future. But I also get voice feedback, and we will have email feedback when we have the email button live as well. So I've got some feedback on my conversation style. Looks like I introduced myself clearly. I missed an opportunity for client engagement. Maybe rather than saying, how are you? I might say, how have things been going financially? Because obviously I'm here as his accountant, and that might be a more sensible thing to us. So she's going to get, obviously had a very short conversation. So it's giving me some suggestions of what I might do to improve. And obviously, if you're having longer conversations, it's going to give you really useful feedback that you can implement at work. So that's something that you get. And then on my dashboard, that's going to show as not passed. I failed it now. It was passed before. So I can go back in and I can have another try. Okay, I really wanted to show you a challenge because I want to have the opportunity to show you around MoniLedger, and I can't believe I've been talking for half an hour before I even got here, so thank you for bearing with me. Let me go into challenge mode. So challenge mode, as opposed to scenario mode being where you work with a client end to end through a particular activity, what happens in challenge mode is you are focusing on a specific skill that you might have learned about in your exams, you might have done various exercises on, but you haven't actually seen this in real life. And actually, to really build your confidence and your abilities and your ability to hit the ground running in the workplace, what you need to do is be exposed to that particular skill in loads of different ways with loads of different types of businesses where different problems come up and down. Some are profitable, some aren't, some have good cash flow, others don't. They might have loads of aged debtors, or their credit control might be a mess, or it might be really good, or they might never have to invoice anybody. It might all happen through online payments or something. And these businesses all look different. The process is different, but they still have to produce the same technical pieces of work for their accounting. What we try and do is expose you to a range of those different things. So this has been really important for us. There are some beginner challenges here which have been built for the people who are coming into the industry, like brand new, change of career, or straight from school, haven't maybe done very many accountancy exams yet, need to really get the foundations there. So you'll see things like our accounting environment, assets and liabilities, critical thinking and AI, these kind of things, professional communication, world of business. They're really helping you understand, how do businesses make money? Why are businesses worried about this? You know, all the kind of things that just help you to understand the space that you're working within. Then we get into year-end working papers, which has been a real challenge and something we've been asked for a lot, which is why we've built lots of these working paper scenarios. So for example, we've got our year-end accruals, which I'll show you in a second, PAYE working paper, VAT account working paper, accounts payable, corp tax provision working paper, for example. And what we do in here is we actually go step by step through why we do that, why we build this working paper, and then how we build it and what does it look like. Corporation tax actually is a really good example of this, where you've got different size businesses paying different rates of tax, or they might or might not have associated companies, or they might or might not have bought vehicles during the year, or they might have bought an electric vehicle and that might need to be treated differently to some other vehicle that they bought, or they've sold something. So there are going to be different levels of complexity coming in at different stages, and we're able to actually test you through, or give you the experience. I don't like to think of it as like a test. It's not a replacement for professional training. What we're doing is giving you an opportunity to apply what you've learned in your training into some real life situations. So what happens in here is you get faced with, rather than a fake client, you actually have somebody who's your trainer, who's there, like your mentor at work, a friend by the coffee machine, who just says, it's okay, let me show you why we do this. I'll walk you through it. And I'm going to go into this accruals challenge here. We've got a sort of introduction video. So she's not a client. She's just here to tell you, show you the ropes, make sure you understand what it is you're going to be doing, and it tells you about the activities you're going to do. I'm just going to resume this because I'll pick up sort of halfway through the challenge and I can see if I can work out what I'm doing. On the left hand side, you'll see that you get taken through various sections. So we have some questions about the context, usually within one of these challenges. Why do we do this? Why is it important? What could go wrong? And then we go into a number of different businesses. So for this one with accruals, we've got Ashwell and Fern, which is a photography business, service provider, Egret and Flight, which is a travel business. So they're actually under the TOMS scheme. So that does throw a bit of complexity in it. It makes it a bit different. And we do add resources. So in the document vault here, which is where you access documents, or you might share documents if you're in a scenario with a client, we have things like briefing notes, which tell you about the client. So this is a bit of backstory, as if I've been handed this file by a client. This is what you need to know. This is what they sell. This is who they sell it to, that kind of thing. We've also got some information about the TOMS scheme. So if you were like, oh my gosh, I've never come across this before, you've got some background so that you can go into this and be like, right, I've got a resource, because this is what we need, isn't it? Build our sort of fluency with these things as they come up day to day. What is saying here in this particular question, sorry, I haven't finished. We go through Ashwell and Fern, we go through Egret and Flight, and then we go into the third business, which is always a slightly more complex one. We're actually doing month-end adjustments for egret flights and month-end accruals. But when we get into this last business, we'll actually be doing their year-end working paper and posting the year-end accruals journal. So we're kind of building up as we go through this one. So let me just show you a couple of the questions. What happens in these particular challenges and scenarios where we're using MoniLedger is you open up MoniLedger in a new window. We're just in the process of having a button built to be embedded somewhere around here on the left-hand side where you'll be able to click to open MoniLedger in a new window. But there are instructions in the scenarios. I just hope that that can be a bit cleaner in the future. So MoniLedger will open. Let me move it over here. So I've got Hey Monika open in one screen. I've got MoniLedger open in the other screen. This is password protected. It's only available to users of Hey Monika, so you get given that password as you work through Hey Monika. And you can then choose one of the many clients that we've got that you're working on. So here we're working on egret and flight. So we'll go into their accounts. This just takes a couple of seconds to load up, and then you can get in. And what you can see in here is we're doing their month end for June. So we've got access to their May, June, July bank transactions. You can see lots of it's been reconciled. In fact, it's reconciled up until the beginning of July. We've got some info in the sales ledger. Looks like they did a lot in June. We've got their purchase ledger here. We can see some of these are awaiting payment. Others have been paid already. I can post journals in here just like I could in any accounting software. Can see details of the VAT, and under reports I can look at their P&L, and I can also look at their balance sheet. And importantly for accruals here, we can also run the balance sheet at a future date. So if that once that journal gets posted for accruals at the year end, which will affect the balance sheet, and then I want to unwind it, I can go in and I can look at the balance sheet and check I've got my debits and credits the right way around if I wanted to do that. So you can see at the moment that there's a zero balance on the accruals code, but we're going to work out what accruals we need to post. The other thing to mention is working papers. I'll come to that in a second when we move on to the next business within this challenge, because it would be useful to show you what we're doing on working papers as well. Now, my question here with egret and flight, just keep in mind, I've already answered a couple of the questions earlier on in the challenge. So this is the last of the 3 questions in this section. But it's saying to me, I've already identified there's some accruals that are needed for Metroline coach hire and John Ambleside, whoever he is. But also I need to find out, are there any other items that need to be accrued? And it's giving me 4 suggestions of things that might need to be accrued for. And I've got to say which ones they are. Now, within MoniLedger, as well as having all of this accounting area, accounting function, you can see it says accounting software at the top. I've also got here on the right, my finance inbox. Now, the reason we built this is that as an accountant, you often deal with your client's finance inbox because it has lots of paperwork in it that's relevant to your clients' accounts. It might have communication from customers or information about payments that are going out of the bank, or issues or disputes or anything finance related, as well as the usual marketing junk and bits and bob automated reminders and things that come through as well. And that feeling of being dropped into a business where you've got not just the accounts to sort out, but you've got lots of bits of paperwork can feel a bit overwhelming. It's very much about time management and prioritizing and looking for the things that you actually need, not getting distracted. Now, of course, Hey Monika is here to take you back to what you're trying to achieve. And what I'm trying to achieve is understand whether these 4 things need accruals. So I can go through the inbox and I can try and identify what's going on with them. So here's the email from Metroline, which apparently we have to accrue for anyway. We've seen that in the question. I'm looking for something from Booking.io, which is this one, and it's saying that my subscription for the June service period, so we're doing the accounts for June, so that seems relevant, will be collected by direct debit on the 3rd of July. So what they're saying, and they're also saying my VAT invoice will be available on that collection date. So what that's saying is my accounts probably don't have this bill for June in, but this is a June bill and it needs to show in the accounts as an expense, because remember, we're trying to get the P&L up to date, do the accruals so we can see a full picture of what actually happened in the month. So that's saying to me there's £240 that needs to be in June that might well not be. If not, you need to accrue for it. And I can then go into my accounting software. I could run my P&L and I could have a look under software and subscriptions, which I imagine is where it is, and there's nothing in there. I could also go to the purchase ledger and I could do a search with like Control F on my keyboard, and I could look for Booking.io, and there's nothing coming up. So there's no bill in here for Booking.io, which to me says, yes, 100%. I need to accrue for that one. There's also one for someone's June commission, Cotswold B&B consortium. Let's have a look at that one and see what's going on. Obviously, I'll be working through these systematically. Cotswold B&B, here's the one before the commission. Cotswold, reminder, the invoice for your July block booking is due on the 30th of June. So what they're saying there is you're paying for some bookings in June that relate to July. So actually this is a prepayment, it's not an accrual. So from the purposes of what I need to do at the end of the month, I need to just make sure that isn't actually sat in June. It needs to go into July, but it isn't a June expense. So it's not an accrual. It might well need an adjustment, and I might want to go and see if I can find where that is in, I don't know, let's have a look while we're in the purchase ledger. Cotswold, there's another Cotswold. This one's awaiting payment. This looks like the one, doesn't it? Oh no, late June tours. Okay, so I would have to do a bit of investigating to understand what's that transaction. Do I need to move it? But then I'm always going back to Hey Monika to answer the question, which is posed to me. So I'm just going to make a bad guess so I can move on. Okay. So that's how that works. We go into the accounting platform. We go back to Hey Monika, answer the question. The next one here is a business called Gwent Madrin, which is a gin company. There's a briefing note about them in the document vault. So I can go in and I can open this up and learn about what they do and what they sell and where their money comes from and the state of the accounts. It says they've got 6 revenue channels. Read it carefully, that kind of thing. So I've got some information there about the business. It's asking me to have a look at the P&L for the full year. So this is a year-end accruals working paper. And it's asking me to go and have a look at which of these expense lines look like they're incomplete or missing or warrant investigation for a year-end accrual. It's given me 5 suggestions. So if I go back into the accounting software, let's just switch accounts to this one and wait for this software to load up for me. And then I can go and run the P&L at the end of December, which is the year end. I can then see, I can have a look at the expenses. We're wondering whether there are any accruals to make. So utilities, let's have a look at utilities. Utilities, we've got January, we've got invoices every month except for December. So that to me says haven't had a December bill. So that probably needs an accrual. Salaries, accountancy. So I can have a look at salaries. Have we got all the payroll journals in there? Looks like it's 12 payroll journals. That looks fine. Accountancy was the next one. Is it under legal and professional? No, there are 4 quarterly payments to solicitors, but there's nothing for an accountant. So I think that we might have a missing accountant's fee in here. So that looks like it needs an accrual. Then we have bottles and packaging and legal and professional. So legal and professional, we've already said looks okay because it's got 4 quarterly solicitors fees in. Bottles and packaging looks like there's a monthly bill coming through. So that looks fine. So I think the answer here is that we need something for utilities and accountancy 1 and 3. So I'm going into the software to check what's going on, and then I'm coming back in to answer the question and I can move on. I won't carry on with this, but what I will show you is that we have this working papers functionality, which I think is really important for giving you the opportunity to practice building out these working papers. So on our left-hand menu, as well as it looking like many accounting softwares, excuse me, there's also this working papers option here as well. So under here, I can view my working papers, and let's say I'm doing the accruals working paper here, for example. What I'm asked to do, and what would happen in practice is maybe you have a software that your working papers go into, or likely you have a spreadsheet that you build and then you fill the numbers in from maybe from the balance sheet, and then you take a screenshot of something or something like that. We wanted to keep everything within MoniLedger. I think maybe working papers in the future will all be done on your accounting software anyway. So what we do is we have a link between the balance in the accounting software, which at the moment is 0 on the accruals code. Excuse me. So at the moment, our balance sheet is showing 0, and that's pulling through into that working paper. what we also need to do is make sure we understand what the accruals are going to be. So let's say I was accruing for my accountancy fee, and actually maybe in the inbox there was an email from somebody with a fee quote telling me what that accountancy fee is going to be. So I've got 3,000 I want to put in the P&L, haven't I? So maybe there's £3,000 that I want to get in for the year end. I can then type that in there. Obviously there's now a difference on my working paper because I haven't posted the journal yet. But then if I was to go and post my journal, 31st of December 2027, I think it was. So we put it against, hopefully there's an accountancy fees. Yeah, put £3,000 in there. Year-end accrual. And then I'm going to stick it against accruals here. And then I want to post it. When I go back into my working paper now, I can see that it does balance because my software is pulling through £3,000 from the balance sheet, and I can then back that up by what I've put here. And if I really want to tick all the boxes, I can submit it for review, so that I know green and tick and it's all done. So we give you the opportunity to build these out. Same with things like corporation tax we mentioned a bit earlier. Might want to calculate the provision. What it's going to do here is ask us for the profit per the P&L. Might want to add back depreciation, client entertainment. There might be a fixed asset register. There is one in here, so I can maybe see, so they haven't got any assets, but another business might have some assets that you might want to go and have a look at purchases or movements or check they've been depreciated or whatever. And then you want to go and calculate those. So those working papers exist. I might be able to look at age receivables. Yeah, age receivables here. This is giving me a breakdown of what's in the age receivables report. Actually, though, that doesn't agree to the ledger. Why is that? You can't see it because my face is over it, but the ledger is showing a different balance. And what I would then need to go and do is investigate what has happened. Has someone posted a journal into the ledger or something like that, that I then need to fix before I can finalize this and complete the working paper. So we've tried to cover lots of the things that you might get thrown at you as we're working through year-end accounts, and this is all happening within challenges. So I think that's everything I needed to show you. This is Hey Monika. You can have a free trial by heading to heymonika.com, clicking the button to sign up. It looks like this up here. So you can head over there, start your free trial, and then enter the code FREEBIE, and you will get 1 month free on the solo plan. And I'd love to know how you're getting on. I love this software. I care deeply about getting it right. So if you've got any questions, use our contact form, get in touch, or register for our webinar, which happens every Monday at 12. And the details for that are at the bottom of our website, I think. If you head down to the bottom, you will find the webinar link. Or you might be able to type in heymonika.com/webinar. That was a really bad call to action. But now you know what you need to do. And I would love to see you on a webinar in the future. Okay, bye.